talking about American business operating in Cambodia, so far, how many American companies who have operated in Cambodia now?
So our business community is very interesting in Cambodia. It's, there's only about 20 big companies here, total. But there's a lot of small businessmen, a lot of them. And there's a lot of Khmer Americans who have come back and are working in business here, especially in the technology sector. One of the most interesting things about Cambodia's economy now is that the technology sector is starting to develop. And some of the best tech companies in Cambodia are run by Khmer Americans, you know. Some of them were born here, some were born in America, but they've come back and they're working here. And so there's a few big companies, and you know them, Coca-Cola, Caltex, companies like that, General Electric. Yeah. But the strength of our business community is in the smaller businesses. Lots of restaurants, small tech companies, service companies, lawyers, things like that. So, and our AmCham now is AmCham is doing very well. It's getting a little bigger, and so we have, we have a pretty active American business community.
So how do you see the business environment here? It has become attractive, or it's still something to improve?
You know, I think Cambodia is known as a place where it's pretty easy to do business. I think it could be made even easier. They could make it easier for companies to register. The government could, easier on some of the labor rules. But in general, it's an easy place to do business. That's not the problem. I notice when I look at the American business community, almost all of the companies here are serving the Khmer market, serving the market inside of Cambodia. And I think that what you want to see someday is that more companies invested in Cambodia to serve the regional market, right? Preferably, manufacturers, service providers, whatever. And so that hasn't happened so much yet. And so I think that's the next challenge, is how to make Cambodia an attractive regional place to do business. And of course, one of the things we've worked on the most is how to help make that happen on the technology side. And we've had some success. So.
How many American residents are living in Cambodia so far?
Well, the only way we would know that is if they register with the embassy. Okay, because we have a system where American citizens can register, and then if there's any problem or we need to communicate, we can push an automatic email message to them. We have about 10,000 registered.
10,000.
My sense is that's only about a third of the total. That some Americans don't pay attention and don't register. Some are Khmer Americans, a lot, and they don't feel the need to register. So I think my sense is there's probably 30 or 40,000 Americans living here in Cambodia. And then we get about over 100,000 visitors a year as well. So at any given time, there's a lot of Americans in Cambodia.
Did you see a lot of increases in the number of American visitors in Cambodia?
I don't know. We'd have to look at what my sense is that Cambodia is, Americans are becoming more aware of traveling here for tourism. Yeah. And so our numbers aren't rising as fast as some countries like China or Vietnam, but they're rising for sure. And so, and especially among younger Americans. In America, there's a tradition when you graduate from college, you try to take a trip overseas somewhere because you work hard to make it through the university. Then your parents maybe give you money for a trip. And a lot of young people come to Srok Khmer. They really like it. So,
It's clear that you mentioned digital digital and also technology, the company that focus on that. So in Cambodia, there are a lot of startups focusing on digital things, something like that. Right. So how do you see the current trends as the embassy also contribute a lot to develop that sector?
I think there's been a ton of progress in the last couple of years. That I think 2 or 3 years ago, young people in Cambodia who are interested in technology, maybe in starting their own company, a startup, all they were doing was watching what was happening in Thailand or Malaysia or Vietnam and trying to copy that. But now in Cambodia, there's enough startups. There's enough people working in that area that they're starting to talk to each other, and some strengths are starting to emerge in some areas of specialization. There's some American companies that are doing some very interesting work with the American the American investments here, working with American companies in the United States. There's interesting things going on in the fintech, we call it, or financial technology sector. Cambodia is doing very well in that area. There's some good game design companies in Cambodia. So the whole system is getting traction and starting to take off here. The problem is it's also taking off in every other city in Southeast Asia, in Bangkok and Kuala Lumpur, especially Singapore. And so they're going ahead fast too, and Cambodia's going ahead fast. But Cambodia's got to go even a little faster to catch up. So that's the challenge.
Do they need more support?
Yes, but in lots of different ways. Lots of problems are starting to solve themselves. More young people are getting interested. More young people are seeing it as a good career. More young people have computer skills now, software engineering skills, coding skills, way more than 3 years ago. So some of these problems, that was the biggest problem 3 years ago, was human resources. It's still a problem, but it's starting to solve itself. So. But more support for sure from everybody. And then, there's a lot that foreign countries like the United States can do as well. So.
Talking about human resources, especially youth, how do you define, youth skill, youth knowledge? Youth now maybe are more, youth now are stronger than, for example, 10 years ago compared to youth in the past, for example.
Stronger, you mean in terms of their skills?
In terms of skill, in terms of everything.
More capable.
Yeah, more capable.
Well, I look at it like this is not a challenge that only Cambodia faces. America faces a similar challenge. Making sure that our workforce, especially our young people, have the skills they need to make our economy grow. That's really important. There's a lot of work now in the United States of pushing children away from universities, 4-year universities, towards technical education programs to give them more practical job skills. In Cambodia, Cambodia has made a lot of progress. Think about 20 years ago in Cambodia, how little human resources there were compared to today. And so really the challenge for Cambodia is to find the right model of technical education. There's a lot of different models. The Germans have a way they do it. Singaporeans do. Vietnamese have their own system. Americans have a system. Ours is more mixed with companies, local governments, universities working together. That's the American system. I actually think that might be a good fit for Cambodia. The Germans have a more centralized system, as do the Vietnamese. So the real challenge is Cambodia finding a model that works in terms of getting the young people the skills they need.
No. Or maybe I can get into your roles as ambassador.
Okay.
The question is, what is your most, your broadest accomplishment you have made as ambassador?
Well, it's been a fun job, right? You do a lot of different things as the American ambassador because we have lots of different programs. You work with the government, you work with the business community, you do public diplomacy, that is, work with the media and with young people, and we work on cultural issues, we work on military issues, we work on POW MIA, we work on lots of different things. But I think for us, what I'm mostly proud of is the work we did on economic development. Because Cambodia has the challenge for Cambodia going forward is how to compete, right? It's no longer Cambodia is no longer a lower income country anymore. It's a lower middle income country. It's done very well development wise. The last 20 years have been very, very positive. But the next 20 years are going to be just as challenging because Cambodia's going to have to compete with Vietnam and Malaysia and Thailand and all those other countries. And so I think through our programs, the work we've done on the travel goods sector, on technology, on agriculture, on women's entrepreneurship, we've sort of been able to really clearly show the Cambodian people how America is a good partner to help Cambodia compete in the world, why a good relationship with the United States is going to be really important for Cambodia in the next phase of its development, just like it was in the last phase. And that's what I'm most proud of. And it's also been a lot of fun. And you know I'm an economist. That's my basic, that's what I love most of all. So not surprisingly, I focused on the thing I knew best. So.
I see.
So according to your explanation, so women will play a very crucial role in developing economy in the countryside, Cambodia.
Right? So look, here's what I think. I think Cambodia's international brand, I don't know why, I think it should be that it's the easiest place in Southeast Asia for women to do business, to women to succeed in business. When people think about Cambodia, they should think, you know, that's the country where the government helps women succeed in business more than any other country. And why is that important? Think about the last 20 years of Cambodia's development. One of the things Cambodia should be the most proud of is the work you've done on education for girls. Because when I was here 20 years ago, very few girls were in school. Now there's parity. As many girls are in school as boys. And also on the health side, the way Cambodia's made huge progress on infant mortality and on maternal health. So Cambodia, from a basic development perspective, has taken care of women very nicely here. What's the next step? Well, now we know at the university, there's as many young women as there are young men at Cambodian universities. So now they got to go into the workforce. And there are some, let's be honest, there are some barriers there. There are very few women in senior government positions, in the military, in the judicial system. So business is the one area where there's I think, the most opportunity for women. And so I think it would be smart for Cambodia to promote that and make Cambodia the place in Southeast Asia where women are the most successful in business. And there's some great role models already. There's some great business women already. And it's important because it's half the population, right? There's a lot of, and incidentally, there have been a lot of studies about the development impact of letting women play a full role in the economy. Some countries are better at it than others, and they've been able to compare them. And so I think that would be really good for Cambodia.